The following program is underwritten by the Nevada Irrigation District. Since 1921, providing clean and healthy drinking and irrigation water to more than 24,000 homes, farms, schools, and businesses in Nevada and Placer counties.
I'm Lew Sitzer, your host for NCTV Interviews, and today we're going to learn more about the history of our area. We have with us today Leah Davis, who is owner of the Earth Store. Thanks for coming here, Leah.
Thank you, Lou.
Good to meet you. And Eileen Jorgensen, who is owner of the Magic Carpet, both of whom are members of the Nevada City Downtown Association. And so welcome. And I'm hoping that you can educate us here and the community as well as to what the Downtown Association is doing, particularly now that this is the Windows in History Month for the city.
Windows on History.
Windows on History. And what does that mean?
We have 47 large formatted photos of Nevada City from 1850 to 1920 in the historic district in the downtown with captions and stories of what's going on in the photo, and the photos are site-specific. It's a then and now kind of idea.
So the photos have been chosen for the location where they're actually exhibited?
Yeah.
So there's a relationship.
Yeah.
Great.
I think it's called streetscapes.
Right, and we know that Nevada City as well as other areas in the county are very historic.
Yeah.
And there's a very good library, a couple of libraries that portray those histories, the Searles Library and the Doris Foley Library.
Right.
So that
We've created a walking tour of this event, and in the back of it is all the resources for Nevada City history.
So how does someone come by this walking tour?
Show up. It's in the windows. It's for the month of October. And you can stop by retailers and pick up your own walking tour. The Chamber of Commerce has them.
Right.
And you can just take the tour and read the captions as you go.
Let me borrow this from you so that viewers can see that it's a nice pamphlet and it's something that you can keep as a historical remembrance and also just use as your guide. So Leah, you left the Earth Store today. Very nice of you to close the business for a short period of time.
Yeah.
Tell us how you fit into this.
I've been on the board of the NCDA, which is the Nevada City Downtown Association, for the last 2 years. Eileen was previously on the board for 2 years, and she's the one that grabbed this project and really wanted to make it fly. And we're friends. She asked me to help. We've got a few other merchants in town, maybe 4 or 5 of us that have, what do you need? Let's make it happen. Get the pictures out there, and whatever we can do to help.
And how long has the Downtown Association been active?
I think it's been 4 years now.
And this is a fairly new creation.
Yes, yes.
And I know there's been some controversy around it, some resistance to the idea, but how is it doing?
I think it's doing very well. Last year there was a lot of organizational work to do. We became a nonprofit organization. We're no longer under the auspices of the Nevada City. So we are a 501c6, which means that we can, what does it mean? We're no longer under the city, and we can get grants, and we can really make things fly, I think, much smoother.
So you're one of the many nonprofits that are you're really helping to support the community in so many ways, but also need the community to support your work.
Right,
And
right.
so this tour will be on throughout the month of October?
Right.
And where are these housed when they're not on tour?
Well, I was going to say, it's been a dream team putting this together. Terry Moore from California Gold houses the exhibit, really organizes us. He's got an intimate relationship with all these photos and the people and the captions. There's a lot to keep together. Leah and myself, Ruth Berliner from J.J. Jackson's is on this team, and Melinda Landsberg from Lew has been helping with publicity. And we've been very fortunate that Orville Bronson, who has recently written his second book on Nevada City, has been our historian and has written the overview of the event and has taken any captions, looked them over, rewritten them, and added to it. Today we're going to show you 38 photos, but we've actually got 47 that are on the street.
So I'm just wondering, for people who kind of question the value of history, and there may be a few, I'm an ex-history teacher, so I don't question the value of it. How would you explain the value of keeping our history alive, keeping our history visible in our lives?
Well, for me, it's memories. I'm the daughter of immigrants, and going through these photos has really put me in touch with what it took to create a community and the people that have come to Nevada City and done what they've done to make it the town that it is. And unless we can honor our history, which is something I think we all share, is memory, how can we go forward to create something else? So that's...
And that is certainly part of what the cities are struggling with really now as development happens. You know, how do we maintain the charm, just the reason why so many people are drawn to the area is its sense of community, its sense of scale. You know, we haven't gone big, and that's what many of us like here.
Exactly.
Yeah, so many of the customers, it's fun to hear, because you're in the store and your photo is out at the window and you hear them walk by and talk about, wow, look at that, it was a fire, the mud on the street. It was just old mud roads. And they're fascinated. And a lot of our customers are older people, maybe from Lincoln, and they really enjoy the history.
Lew, I'd like to share that this project was set forth by the State Cultural Preservation Group back in 1995, when the state probably had money to do these kind of things. It was picked up by Marty Demick, who lived in our community. She organized this project initially in 3 towns, in our 3 Nevada County towns, and she gave us the entire exhibit to start with. And so that's how we started off, and then we've been adding to it ever since. They have believed, and I've come to think that it's very valid, that cultural history is an economic medium for us to pursue. And that was this idea that this group started with. And this is our 4th year with this exhibit. And as we've been adding to it, and I feel like this is something we should continue to grow with, that people that come to see Nevada City and how it was developed are the tourists that it's going to come back. They're going to talk about who we are and what we do and the kind of people we want to be with, and they go home afterwards.
So before we go on to the photos and some of the video that you brought, I just wanted to mention that Nevada City used to be the 3rd largest city in California during the time of the gold rush, which is hard to believe, and it's still known as the queen of the gold mining cities throughout California. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of history here that people do relate to.
And that number of being the 3rd biggest city in 1870 or so, we have almost the same population now as we had then. And the same kind of crazy people that have come to live here and love it.
Well, why don't we go take a look at some of the photographs as you guide us through.
Okay. So this is the poster that was created by Diane Hildy, and we're going to look a little closer at the photo in the bottom, but this is what we have put around town.
And this advertises the month.
Right.
And does this come out each year? Is this the month of October where
this
we
is our 4th
revisit
year.
The history?
Yeah, I feel like it's a great time to walk around town. In October, we get great tourists up here, and so we
Turning
bring
of the colors of the leaves.
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Let's move on.
So while he's moving on, a few things to say is that Nevada City had 3 really big fires. This is before one of those big fires. This, in the very middle, is the Union Hotel. This is Nevada City in the late 1800s. Right in the middle of this photo is where the freeway was bulldozed through in 1960. And because of that, this whole town now is under the federal registration of historic places that came about in 1985. I think it must have been a pretty controversial kind of thing to have this town have a freeway going right through it, and I think this is probably the trade-off.
We're actually going to go back with a program and explore how the freeway did come in and what kind of controversy it did stir up.
That would be great. So here we are in the big snowstorm, and we have a few pictures because it was just such a big snowstorm, 1890, 1889, 1890. So we're looking up under the what the heck is it? Anyway, the corner of Broad Street and North Pine. So this is when the trolley car came in. The trolley car came in 1901. It's called a streetcar. And you can see here is this area that we're looking at where the banner is. That's all where the freeway is now. So this is a very old photo, you know, well, after 1901, but before 1915 with the cars. So this is when they had planks for streets. This is 1874. 1900 is when that was taken up. This is the Armory. It was the entertainment center in 1872. It was built. It was called Hunt's Hall, and it was sold during the Civil War to the Nevada Light Guard. In 1907, they had a graduation dance there, and they advertised the new Maple Spring floor. It was also a roller skating rink and a bowling alley. It was sold in 1940 to Purity Foods.
It looks a lot like the Nevada City Theater.
It's the Bonanza.
It's Bonanza Market
It's
now?
Bonanza Market.
Ah, okay. Which is itself pretty historic.
Yes. Well, I just gave you the history.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is an overview at the close of the 19th century. Right in the middle, you see the Union Hotel again, and you see Nevada Street going up right through the middle of it over there.
It's hard to get the direction, but you can see Sugarloaf Mountain in the background.
Yes.
And there are still some trees. There are pictures of the city that I've seen over time where there were no trees, and you could see no trees in the landscapes as well, because all of them had been cut down to use for the flumes and for propping up mines.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Chinatown. A fire in 1880 completely decimated it. This was built in its place, and as you'll see in these photos, there's not a lot of wooden structures. Most of them have been replaced by these brick buildings. The Chinese were made to only build in brick. 3 major fires shaped Nevada City, 1856, 1863, and 1880, and it made a big difference to the architecture.
I'd still like to see trees brought back to the city. I think that they lend a lot of shade, coolness, a whole different atmosphere.
That was one of the goals of the Downtown Association, just might add. So this is a picture of the Owl Tavern, which is now Judy's, was Julie Baker's. Can you see that right?
Yeah,
right
I can see
there.
the owl and the courthouse in the background.
And the courthouse in the background before the fire of sometime early 1900s when that was a 3-story building.
That's gone through a lot of changes, and the owl maybe it's the same place as moved to Grass Valley. Owl Tavern.
You wonder.
Yeah, but you'll see that there's a lot of places that still have names. So
This is the National.
this is the National. This is out of sequence for what I have, but this is the National in its day. The National was also cut through in order to make the freeway. So this is like the original National, and we can tell from the cars it's the early 1900s.
And a lot of it still looks exactly like what it does in previous years. It doesn't. Seems like it's very historic.
But look at the beautiful portico that they took down, and then you can see all the buildings that were taken down for the freeway.
Yeah, beyond the National, right?
So this is the corner of North Pine and Commercial Street, and it has a lot of reincarnations. It was eventually bought up by the Masons in the very early days in the 1800s, and now this is where the Nevada City crystal and glass is. But look at these beautiful women dressed in these clothes in these dirt streets. How did they keep them so clean?
And it looks like it could have been done last year in some ways, because Dave Burton and the carriage,
It's true.
the carriages that he ran through town much evoke this same sense of history.
So this is the plaza. Now the plaza, which is now the Stone House, this was the parking lot for the Stone House, was the original plaza where everybody congregated. And we'll see later it was the end of parades that they had. You can see wagon wheels to the right over there. And apparently there's a city council member to the right talking to the fellow. His name is Samuel Cutter. his
like
shop.
Clutter.
Clutter, is that his name?
No, I guess it's hard to say, because Samuel is S-A-M-L, and it looks like clutter on the other side, and I don't know. We'll have to find some historian who might be able to verify the name. But it does. It
is clutter.
Yeah, it is clutter.
This is a very early photo of Nevada City taken from Prospect Hill, which is where the Red Castle is. And what you're looking down on is Sacramento Street. Deer Creek is down below that, and then Spring Street. And you can see the back of the National Hotel, and this is the very early days, pre-1900.
Yeah, and you can really get the feeling of how the gold rush really tore up the landscape, denuded it, the town and the neighborhood of trees, and it looks like a rough and tumble place.
Well, there's no trees even on Sugarloaf in this picture. Yeah.
Right.
Well, this depressing picture is Commercial Street, the Transcript building in the early part of the 1900s. Many newspapers were published out of Nevada City. The Transcript was one of them. This is the site now of the Scotch Broom and those group of buildings through there.
Right, and it looks like things have improved since that time.
I would say.
You don't see horses, vehicles, anything there. It looks like a ghost town.
But you look at the shutters and the brick. That was mandatory for the fire problem. So this is the Kidder Knox building, that building I couldn't remember on the left. And again, an old photo where you can see before the freeway came through. And to the right is the Union Hotel and the Bismarck, and we'll get to that. That's where the fur trader is now.
Looks like the streets were a lot wider then,
yeah.
but you don't see automobiles or anything to occupy the space very much.
And even they called it Broad Street, so they were visionaries in thinking of what could come down these streets.
It's not so broad anymore, is it?
So a picture, you know, the 20s or so of the New York Hotel, looking up to the Methodist Church, which is one of the oldest buildings. And you can see the Nevada Theater in its place. And this is before the Bonanza got renovated.
So you got electricity and motor cars. And
electricity came in 1890.
It looks like even maybe paved streets. Hard to say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to have an automobile.
Well, unless you're into a drive in the country,
yeah.
it gets pretty muddy.
This is the photo I was talking about the parade that ended, or the group that was down at the plaza. What we're looking at here is, again, the parking lot of the John Clutter, or whatever, Samuel Clutter's wagon wheel livery stable, but now it's the stone house.
And it looks like there's a bridge.
And that's the bridge that used to cross Deer Creek at the time. The story with this area is, as I said, it was the plaza. In 1851, there was a famous, what could we say? It was a bull and a bear fighting down there, and the miners were betting on it. So and a lot of money was exchanged.
We had our own local stock market.
So this is McGee's.
Ah, the bar.
The bar.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is McGee's back when, very, very early days, Smith's wholesale and retail grocery store.
And we know this is the corner.
This is the corner
Spring
looking
Street.
up, yeah, and we can't really tell what the little controversy is going on up by the New York Hotel there, but beautiful old photo of the town, 1860 or so. It's very old.
Hasn't changed too much.
So the owl, this is the corner, this is where Judy's of Nevada City is, where Julie Baker was. This is the corner of South Pine and Commercial Street. And this, before it was the owl, was Blaze's Saloon. And I remember, I grew up in a bar, right? I remember people saying, going to Blaze's. Well, that's where this expression comes from. Can you imagine? So it's had a great history in that way. The Broadway is the first entertainment center of the town. It's where the theater was originally. Now it's what we hope is California Organics. And it is said that when people would go to the silent films there, the livery stable right next door would provide a lot of scent as they were enjoying the movie.
Right, so that building still exists.
Yeah. And so again, here's that big snowstorm.
Looking up at the courthouse.
Looking up at the courthouse, 1889.
Right, maybe we'll get one of those again. We're due for a big
we
storm.
are. This is J.J. Jackson's, called the Beehive store in its day. You can see wood out there, some feed and produce. But this has a very long history, J.J. Jackson's. PG&E is Maiden Lane in the middle of Broad Street, the oldest tenant in Nevada City. It started in 1907, and it moved from that location in 1977 or something.
Right, and so, yeah, we're seeing, these are some great old photographs.
Yeah. Now this looks like McGee's again, because you can see the building next door is what is now the courthouse. And they got their design from what is now Bonanza, but in that day it was called the Armory and had particular architecture. Really amazing how they took the care of architecture as they developed the town. Very early photo, pre-1900, a businessman dressed. He's obviously working with all the little shops. This is, again, North Pine Street, looking at Commercial and looking at the old courthouse. Isn't that beautiful? And it looks like a Grecian Aphrodite building.
Changes,
right? It has, yeah. So this is digging up the streets pre-freeway down on Main Street area near where the Chamber of Commerce is now. And when you look closely, there's characters in there with stocking caps on and a top hat. Obviously, they were kibitzing even then, as they worked for Public Works. A beautiful picture of the Kidder Knox building.
This is where, this is Broad Street also.
Yeah. This is what is now the Fur Trader at the corner of South Pine and Broad. This is the Bismarck. Very old photo, you know, bartender comes out for the shot, late 1800s. We're not sure if these are members of the Masons who own this building or the Chamber of Commerce. This is in front of Friar Tuck's, probably 1820s, I'm sorry, 1920s or so.
Yeah.
But the guys all...
The guys are looking
Yeah.
good.
So this was actually an advertisement for the New York Hotel in its day, very late 1800s, and look at the mud and the traps, and they have people out there showing that, hey, people live here. So this was a hotel, and of course everyone knows it housed Lola Montez and Mark Twain and Kate Hayes and the people that, the thespians that were then performing across the street at the Nevada Theater.
And it's good to see that the saloons are always balanced by the churches. We need some civility.
So one of the two firehouses, the firehouses were built very early on. So maybe we'll come back to another one. The Hotel de Paris is, believe it or not, it's where Tanglewood Forest is now. And they said, this is very, very old, this photo, any building that had glass in the window, it was called a hotel, because you could pay money to stay there. But, you know, 1860 or so, I just think that's a classic picture.
And you don't see too many people there, interestingly.
Yeah, probably a publicity picture.
Here's
the other firehouse. We're blessed that the firehouses exist as they did then. This is now a museum. They were both built as a result of the fires in the 1800s.
I think we're coming to the end of the photos and coming to the end of the show.
Oh,
and so I want to really remind everyone that the walking tour of the windows in history is happening throughout the month.
Yes.
And windows on history, all right? Anyway, you explore them to find out what is really happening. You might have some final comments you want to make? Anything?
Well, come and see the fall colors, come and see the photographs. They're absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful time of year.
It
Engage
is.
with the store owners because often they have a lot of stories to tell about both the photographs and the history of the place. So I really want to thank Eileen Jorgensen from the Magic Carpet, Leah Davis from the Earth Store, two wonderful establishments if you haven't visited. And also want to thank our crew today, volunteers, Mason giving us the time, and Gail Woodman on camera, Mike Leach technical directing, and Marilyn Blom on character generator. I want to thank Bill Carquest, our ever-present and keeping us on task director, and especially Michael Lamarca, our executive director. So what you might do is think about supporting NCTV, think about coming on the show. Remember, we have a telethon coming up November 1st from 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening. Live music, lots to do. Come by, see how a live telecast works, and help support our local nonprofits. So thanks for watching. Tune in again soon. Thanks a lot.